There was a time when a trip to the local Kresge store meant much more than shopping. Long before giant supermarkets and fast food chains took over America, the lunch counter inside every busy Kresge was where families, office workers, teenagers, and travelers gathered for an inexpensive meal. A few coins could buy a hot lunch, a fresh dessert, and a drink mixed right in front of you by a soda jerk. Unlike today's chain restaurants, nearly everything was prepared fresh behind the counter. Sandwiches were grilled to order, soups simmered all morning, pies were baked daily, and fountain drinks were handcrafted instead of poured from machines. While many people remember the famous grilled cheese or banana split, dozens of once popular menu items have quietly disappeared. Here are 10 forgotten Kresge lunch counter foods that were once everyday favorites, but have nearly vanished from American menus. 10. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Few meals were as filling for the price as creamed chipped beef on toast. Thin slices of salted dried beef were chopped into ribbons before being folded into a thick white cream sauce made with butter, milk, and flour. The mixture was then spooned generously over toasted white bread. The salty beef flavored the entire sauce, creating a surprisingly hearty meal that cost only a few cents. Veterans recognized it instantly from military service, while working families appreciated how affordable and satisfying it was. Although the dish survives in a handful of diners today, it's almost impossible to find on modern restaurant menus. 9. Chicken à la king. For shoppers wanting something that felt a little more elegant, chicken à la king was the perfect choice. Tender pieces of roasted chicken were combined with mushrooms, sweet peppers, and pimentos in a rich cream sauce before being served over crisp toast points. It looked far more expensive than it actually was, making it one of the lunch counter's most popular comfort meals. Restaurants gradually dropped it as tastes changed, and today it's remembered mostly through vintage cookbooks and family recipes. 8. Fried bologna sandwich. Before gourmet burgers became fashionable, the fried bologna sandwich ruled many lunch counters. A thick slice of bologna was scored around the edges, so it wouldn't curl while cooking. It sizzled on the flat-top grill until the edges crisped and the center browned, then was placed on soft white bread with mustard and sometimes melted cheese. The smell alone drew customers from across the store. Cheap, filling, and surprisingly flavorful, it became a working-class favorite that's now rarely seen outside nostalgic diners. 7. Open-faced hot turkey sandwich. One of Kresge's biggest sellers looked more like a Thanksgiving dinner than a sandwich. 2 slices of white bread were covered with sliced roast turkey, then completely smothered in hot turkey gravy. A generous scoop of mashed potatoes sat alongside, receiving another ladle of gravy before the plate reached the customer. Everything required a knife and fork, and that's exactly how people liked it. It was warm, comforting, and incredibly affordable, making it a perfect lunch during colder months. 6. Patty melt. Long before gourmet burger restaurants popularized the patty melt, Kresge had already perfected it. A thin hamburger patty was cooked on the griddle until deeply browned, topped with grilled onions and melted American cheese, then pressed between buttery slices of grilled rye bread. The crispy bread, juicy beef, sweet onions, and melted cheese created one of the most satisfying sandwiches of its era. While diners still occasionally serve patty melts today, the quick, affordable lunch counter version has largely disappeared. 5. Fresh cream pies. Every Kresge lunch counter featured a dessert display that tempted nearly everyone walking past. Chocolate cream, banana cream, coconut cream, and lemon meringue pies were often baked fresh each day. Their flaky crusts and silky fillings stood in sharp contrast to today's mass-produced frozen desserts. Customers frequently stopped in just for a slice and coffee. The aroma of fresh baking drifted through the store, making the bakery section almost impossible to ignore. Fresh cream pies still exist, but few large retail stores bake them daily the way Kresge once did. 4. Cherry phosphate. Before bottled soft drinks dominated America, handcrafted fountain beverages were the stars of the lunch counter. One of the most popular was the cherry phosphate. Made with cherry syrup, carbonated water, and acid phosphate, it delivered a bright, tangy flavor unlike anything sold today. The acid phosphate added a refreshing sharpness that balanced the sweetness perfectly. Prepared by hand in front of every customer, each drink had its own personality depending on the soda jerk mixing it. When soda fountains disappeared, the cherry phosphate largely disappeared with them. 3. Malted milk. The malted milk wasn't simply a milkshake, it was an experience. Ice cream, cold milk, flavored syrup, and malted milk powder were blended together in stainless steel mixing cups until thick and creamy. Customers received both the filled glass and the extra mixture still sitting inside the metal cup, giving them nearly 2 servings. The malt powder added a rich toasted flavor that modern milkshakes often lack. Teenagers gathered around lunch counters sipping chocolate malts after school, making the drink just as much a social tradition as a dessert. 2. Blue Plate Special. Nothing represented Kresge better than its famous Blue Plate Special. Instead of ordering individual dishes, customers received a complete hot meal for one fixed price. Depending on the day, the plate might include roast turkey, mashed potatoes, vegetables, salad, bread, butter, and even dessert. These meals offered incredible value during the Great Depression and continued attracting shoppers for decades afterward. The Blue Plate Special wasn't just affordable, it created a sense of community. Everyone sitting at the counter often enjoyed the very same meal while chatting with complete strangers. Today's restaurants rarely offer anything quite comparable. 1. The classic grilled cheese. The simplest item on the menu became the one people remembered for the rest of their lives. Soft white bread was generously buttered before being grilled slowly until perfectly golden. Inside, slices of American cheese melted into one smooth, gooey layer that stretched with every bite. Served with potato chips, a pickle spear, and often a hand-mixed cherry coke, it became the ultimate comfort meal. Thousands of grilled cheese sandwiches came off Kresge's griddles every single day, yet customers remembered each one as if it had been made just for them. Even today, former shoppers often recall sitting on chrome stools beside their parents, watching cooks work the grill while waiting for that perfectly toasted sandwich. Why these foods disappeared? The disappearance of these meals wasn't because people suddenly stopped enjoying them. It happened because the stores themselves changed. As discount retail expanded during the 1960s and 1970s, maintaining full-service lunch counters became expensive. They required cooks, waitresses, fresh ingredients, dishwashers, and valuable floor space that could instead be filled with merchandise. Fast food restaurants also offered quicker service with standardized menus that were easier to operate nationwide. One by one, Kresge lunch counters closed, taking many of their signature recipes with them. Final thoughts. Looking back, the Kresge lunch counter wasn't simply a place to eat. It was a neighborhood gathering spot where nearly anyone could enjoy a freshly prepared meal without spending much money. Whether it was a steaming plate of chicken a la king, a thick chocolate malt, a slice of fresh cream pie, or the unforgettable grilled cheese sandwich, these meals represented an era when lunch was made by hand and served with genuine hospitality. Most of these dishes can still be recreated at home, but the experience of sitting shoulder to shoulder at a busy lunch counter, watching your food being prepared right in front of you, belongs to another time. That's why these forgotten Kresge favorites continue to live on, not just as recipes, but as memories of a uniquely American tradition that disappeared far too soon.